Okay, you guys, I'm back with another encouraging message on today. It's our niece. So the Lord said it would happen at the right time. Y'all, a couple years ago, um, I moved out here to Texas and I decided to move back to Louisiana. And when we moved back to Louisiana, um, everything started to go left. God was testing us during that time. As soon as we moved back to Louisiana, we started having problems with our vehicle. We never had problems with our vehicle while we were out out in Texas. Like we never had problems with our vehicle until we moved back home to Louisiana. Um, Within those first couple of days of moving back, our car started to run hot because I believe we moved back during the summertime. Our car started to run hot. I remember we were I think we were leaving the grocery store, my husband and my three children. We were leaving the grocery store and the car just started to run extremely hot to the point that we didn't know if we were going to make it home. And where we were at the time and where we stayed, it was a long distance for us to be walking. And remember, it's the summertime and it's real hot. So I'm just like, I'm telling my husband, I believe we're going to make it. Just keep going. He won. He won for sure because he was just like, if this car stops, we're gonna have to get out of this car and walk. And at the time, I believe our phones were off, so we didn't have no way to contact family or friends, to help us if our car was just to stop on us. So by the grace of God, we made it home. So the next day, my husband needed to go to work. So the car worked for him, the next day. He was able to go to work and everything. But when he came back home, probably that night, he tried to go start the car. The car wouldn't start. So, of course, he's thinking he needs a battery. Maybe it's something small, but that wasn't the case. It was something more than what we expected to be wrong with it. So, by our car being down, of course, my husband couldn't go to work for an entire week. At this time, we really didn't have like any money saved. We just made a move. We moved from Texas back to Louisiana. So, pretty much used all our money to move back home. We had to pay a deposit for our place. We had to pay first month rent. We had to pay all those things, to move back home, the normal things that you would do when you're moving. I prayed to God, my husband prayed to God, we prayed to God together, because we were trying to figure out what we was gonna do because my daughter was in school, my husband had to go to work, and we need a vehicle to get around. So one day I received an email. I received an email from Honda dealership out here in Texas. I'm currently back in Texas. That's why I'm saying out here in Texas. But at the time I was in Louisiana, I received the email. Never applied for anything. So I received the email and it told me I qualified for a vehicle. Remember, our car had just ran hot. It just stopped working. And I remember me and my husband, we were praying. We were praying hard because at this moment we didn't know what to do. So all we can do was to give this battle to God. So I received the email, said I pre-qualified. So I called the dealership, you know, um, spoke with a representative to see what I need to do to get a vehicle. He told me, that I needed to provide some bank statements or check stubs, and all I needed was my driver's license. So what we did was we rented a car out, Y'all, this whole time during this process, I wasn't for sure of how everything was going to turn out, because this is my first time getting a car from the dealership. So God blessed us to be able to rent us a car to leave from Louisiana to go back to Texas. So we came out here to Texas. I went to the dealership. When I say the process was a long process, you guys. At this point, I'm starting to doubt what God had told me. I didn't think things were going to turn out, around in my favor. I didn't think things were going to work for me. But I kept praying that entire day at the dealership. The man that helped me, he was a very good salesman, because he told me he was going to make sure I got a vehicle before I left that day. When I say we went to the dealership probably around 1 o'clock, I left probably around 6 p.m. that day. So at the time, the dealership person, he's, running my information, checking different things, and it was like this process was taking long, because I'm just like, we need to leave Texas with the vehicle. So I test drove some cars, the man was asking me how much I could pay monthly, this and that, just asking me different questions. Okay, my bad, y'all. I'm getting tongue tied. I'm getting excited. So time has passed by, and the man told me that I was approved for a vehicle. I was approved for a vehicle with no down payment. So when God says it will happen for you at the right time, you got to believe it. You got to continue to do whatever you're doing in your normal life, but you got to keep the faith and keep going. When our car broke down, I didn't let that discourage me. I kept trying to find a solution to figure out how we can get us another vehicle. Out of nowhere, I received the email within that same week, or with the same couple weeks of our vehicle breaking down, that I pre-qualified for a car. God blessed me with a vehicle. So if you're currently going through something, you better keep the faith and keep praying that God said it will happen at the right time. You got to believe it, and you got to keep going. Certain things that you're going through in your life, it don't look how God told you it's going to look. But you got to pray for understanding, so you can understand the different situations that God is allowing you to go through. He's just testing your faith, but you got to keep going. When something happens in your life, don't let it stop you. Stop focusing on the problem and come up with a solution. Trouble don't last always. Everything is working in your favor, but you got to believe it. You got to see it. You got to keep going. You got to trust in God's process. I hope this video encouraged somebody that's currently going through something that you feel like you can't come out of. All things work together for those that love God. Y'all be blessed. You are blessed. And know that God is turning things around for your good. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, like the video, and leave me a comment down below. Y'all stay blessed.